watching the 2025 SCAC Softball Media Days. Today, we're taking a look at the Centenary College softball program. Ladies will once again be led as they head into the season with the guides of head coach Whitney Patterson, along with senior leadership from Viviana Rivero. Coach Viviana, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hey, thanks. Thank you for having us.
Coach, we'll open things up with you heading into your fourth season as the head coach of this program. I'm interested where you've seen the biggest growth within this program and in this group over these first 3 years as you've taken over and put your fingerprints on this program. And, ultimately just how excited you to be back here at the start of a new season and getting ready to go here in 2025.
Yeah, definitely ready to get back out on the field. It's been a long preseason. We're ready to go. Over the last 3 years, really, just leadership, honestly, kids stepping up, buying into some changes throughout the program, and just the overall energy going into this year is much different. So we're excited for sure.
Viviana, coming into this year's senior season, especially year for you, and especially, coming back last year, battling through injury, and now finally back returning to be with this team. What did you learn, over the course of that, I'm sure at times very frustrating junior season, battling through that injury? What did you learn about yourself, and ultimately how excited you just to be back with your teammates and getting ready to start your senior year?
I definitely learned how much I depended on my teammates, how much I leaned on them, how much they pumped me up to be back on this field. So I'm definitely excited to be back with my teammates. The energy just building up throughout the entire last season, coming into this season. Super excited to be back on the field with my teammates. And I feel like, again, going off the energy, we've just built like a big hype team. Like we just keep getting each other. One of us goes down, we make sure they get back up. So definitely leaning on each other.
Coach, one of the great things, obviously, about college athletics is each year a team is anew and no team is the same. So as you've gone through this preseason with this version of this ladies softball program, what are some things you've learned about this group? I know you've mentioned energy. Of course, Viviana mentioning energy as well. So I'm sure that's a part of it. But what are some things that the fans, supporters of this program, will be excited to know about this specific group coming into this season that gives them excitement?
We are definitely loud. There's definitely never a dull moment with this group. They compete day in and day out. We talked a lot in the fall about, competing every pitch, every moment that you're out there, and they do that, whether that's on the field or honestly just competing to see who is the loudest. But it's definitely brought a whole new energy, which is something that we're going to lean heavily on this year for sure.
Viviana, you talked about, coming back and battling through that injury and now coming into the season. What are you looking forward to most about this senior year that's about to unfold here? And what, did you miss most, about, being away from the team, battling that injury? Did it give you a different perspective coming into this season?
Oh, 100%. I got to see not only like my position aspect of it, but everyone watching the outfield, the infield, the pitchers, the catchers. I got to see what each individual needs, what kind of support they need, and especially the big energy part. I'm super excited to be back with energy because all the energy I could give was in the dugout last year, but to bring it onto the field is a whole different, in a whole different way. So I'm super excited, and again, competing. We're definitely a very competitive team. We always try to compete with either a person at our position or someone else, just trying to either be the loudest, best throw, like competing in every aspect of the game.
Coach, we talk about each team being anew, but you look at this roster, there's going to be a lot of familiar faces to the fans of this ladies program. You look down the lineup: Catherine Stokes, Jaden Thrasher, Abigail Hodgson, River Boltinghouse, Morgan Dawson, of course, Viviana returning. These are all, key pieces that had 20 or more hits from your lineup a season ago coming back this year. And then, of course, in the circle, Anna Scarbrock, Riley Myers, Emma Shepard, all with big innings last season in that circle, all coming back this year. So even with all that familiarity, there's some transition. So who are some names, some athletes, maybe it's in that group that you're looking to kind of take that next step, maybe fill some shoes from graduating players a year ago that will boost this roster going into this season?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, we have a lot of returners, and that's going to be key for us. All those people that contributed last year, they're going to do the same this year in contributing in a lot of the same ways. So with all of those returning, we do have a couple transfers that are going to help us out right away. And we have some freshmen, some newcomers that are going to, again, get some opportunities pretty fast. And that we look for them to contribute pretty big as well throughout the season.
And Viviana, finally wrapping things up with you. Coach talked about this being an older team with a lot of leadership. You're a part of that group. When you've had conversations with some of those other leaders in this clubhouse and in this locker room about some of the goals and expectations going into this year, what have those conversations looked like? This is a program that, as some of these older players have played in some really meaningful SCAC tournament games, have seen those moments and certainly know what it takes to get there. So when you've had those conversations about goals for this season, what have those conversations looked like, and ultimately what's going to be key to accomplishing those?
Yeah, so we've definitely talked about, especially since we're an older team, we've seen what's worked, what hasn't worked, and we're trying to, again, bring the energy every single game, especially with practices. We say to bring the energy. If you had a bad day, leave it at the door, make this your space. So just making sure that energy is there, even if we have a bad at bat, an error, we'll always know that someone will be there to pick us up. And then also competing, no matter what day you had, even if you just had a strikeout, competing on the field, off the field, especially in the classroom, just continue that cycle of being the best that we can, whatever day we had. So making sure that those are there and having the leaders that we do now. It's not just one person, it's everyone working together to make sure that this team gets to that championship.
And finally, Coach, as we wrap up with you, what's been the message this preseason? What is, as you've started to lay the foundation for this year and getting this group as prepared as they can going into the start of this season here in a little over a week, what's been that message you've really tried to establish to make sure they're as prepared as possible heading into the season?
Yeah, so for us, like we've said it several times, is, just competing every day, being where your feet are, be in the moment, not looking at too far ahead, just like I said, compete every pitch. And just the energy level, I feel like that's a big part. You got to bring that energy every day. You got to compete every day. So with that, going into games, for us, it's just like every other practice now. So.
Centenary softball head coach Whitney Patterson, along with leadership from senior Viviana Rivero, the ladies will open up the 2025 campaign on February 8th when they take on Millsaps. Coach Viviana, thanks so much for your time today and best of luck as you head into the season.
Thank you so much.